Ahead and get started. All right. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming in today. My name is Jamie, and I am the marketing coordinator here at Disability Rights Arkansas, and I will be your host and moderator for today. Thank you so much for joining us. So today's session is No Place Like Home, where our speakers will break down the basics of the home and community-based service settings role. And so let me introduce you to our speakers for today. So our first speaker that we will have is Lindsey. Lindsey joined Disability Rights Arkansas in March of 2023 as a representative payee advocate. She has worked with various organizations that serve the disability community in areas such as pre-employment transition, job coaching, and equine therapy. In her current role, she meets with service providers and offers education and training on the HCBS settings role that we're discussing today to help increase compliance. Lindsey also ensures representative payees appointed by Social Security Administration and help them to maintain accurate records, keeping and reporting for their beneficiaries. She's originally from Austin, Texas, and she moved to Little Rock after graduating from Hendrix College with her Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and we're very happy to have her here today. Our other speaker that we have today is Sherice. She started out her career as a self-advocate more than 20 years ago at a Center for Independent Living and has been advocating ever since. She has worked with organizations on a local, state, and national level to affect change for people with disabilities in the areas of healthcare, education, transportation, accessibility, healthy relationships, and independent living. She currently works at Disability Rights Arkansas as our program manager for our advocacy program. Her goal is to mentor people with shared lived experiences who want to follow her lead. And this is a webinar. In case you haven't noticed, your video and audio are automatically turned off for this duration. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A option below. There will be a time at the end of this session for Q&A. We also ask that you help us to keep this session as accessible as possible by limiting chat posts. Please use the private message feature to say hello to friends and to have any side conversations. This will ensure that our attendees using screen readers can hear our speakers as everything posted in the chat pane is read aloud by the screen reader. If you are having any event-related issues, message me directly. My screen name will read DRA Moderator. And I've also put the captioning link into the chat for everybody else to see. This session is recorded and will be available along with the resources shortly after. If you also need closed captioning, there's a CC option at the bottom of the screen. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our speakers, and thank you so much for joining us today. All right, Lindsey.
I'm thrilled that so many of y'all have joined this webinar. Sherice and I are very excited to talk with you all today about your home and the services you receive. There is truly no place like home, and your home would not be what it is without the HCBS settings rule. Today, we're going to switch between the kind of two audiences, the first one being if you're a consumer and you have a disability, and the second one being if you're a provider and if you provide services or if you're a care coordinator. So this webinar is directed to you. So the mission of Disability Rights Arkansas is to vigorously advocate for and enforce the legal rights of people with disabilities. We envision an Arkansas where people with disabilities are equal members in their communities and can dictate the course of their own lives through self-determination. DRA treats all people with dignity, respect, and compassion. And one of those ways that we advocate for and enforce the rights of people with disabilities is by informing people about the settings rule. So today we're going to learn about the HCBS settings rule. We're going to learn what it is and why it exists, and how this affects your life, both at home, in the community, just in general, and also how your choices can affect you. If you're a consumer and you have a disability, I will teach you about your rights and some strategies about how you can advocate for yourself and for what you want for your life. For the providers, support staff, care coordinators that are here, I will also offer training and resources to help you become better providers and offer higher quality care. Just as a disclaimer about me and Sherice, we are advocates, we're not lawyers. We don't have law degrees, we're not going to talk about black and white rules that the state or CMS has for providers, and we're also not enforcers of the rule. But what we are here to do is inform you of the goals of the HCBS settings rule and what those expectations are. This webinar is not meant to advise you on how to act or to not act, and this is also not legal advice. So I hope that that makes sense. I do know that there are providers and support staff that are attending this webinar, and I'm really glad that you're here. And if you are interested in the more legal side of things, there are two webinars that I'm going to recommend. The first one is called Understanding the Arkansas Medicaid Waiver. You can scan the QR code here to watch it later. And I'm also going to link it in a resource document that will be sent to everyone here. Mr. Derek Henderson, one of our staff attorneys, presented on the Medicaid waiver. And the other piece too that I wanted to mention is that we are not experts on guardianship. Some of the things that we'll talk about today will look a little different if you have a guardian. And I know that there may be guardians who are on this call today, and then some people with disabilities may have a guardian. But if you want to learn more about the guardianship code, less restrictive alternatives to guardianship, which I do encourage, and what your rights are under a guardianship, Mr. Thomas Nichols gave a webinar that talks more about that. So there are links there, and there are also QR codes. So what is it? What is the Home and Community-Based Services Settings Rule? In a nutshell, this is a rule from the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, also known as CMS, which all states and providers must follow. And that includes any providers who are on the call today. Anyone with a disability who's attending, the settings rule makes sure that your home feels like a home that you're comfortable in and that you feel safe in. And the reason it exists is to protect you. It's meant to protect you in general, and also more specifically, to protect your rights and your freedoms. The settings rule makes sure that you can live your life how you want to. And that's regardless of where you live. Maybe you live in a group home or in your parents' home, in an apartment. It's all the same. It's meant to protect your rights and freedoms in whatever kind of environment you live in. The settings rule also guarantees you access to the community, and that means life outside of your house. The settings rule also guarantees that you have independence, and that means to make your own choices, and those choices can be big or they can be small. We'll talk more about the kinds of choices that you can make later on. So that's kind of the settings rule in a nutshell. It is important to talk a bit about history. So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, also known as CMS, issued the settings rule on March 17th, 2014. So that was almost 10 years ago. So you can, if you have a disability, so you can have full access to the benefits of community living and be able to receive services in the most integrated setting. So I just want to draw attention to this, that the CMS issued this rule in 2014, and this is meant to protect you if you have a disability. And they drew attention to the pieces of community living and most integrated setting. Access to the community is very important, and we'll talk more about that in detail. But integrated setting, what that means is that you can talk to and spend time with other people without disabilities. You can go somewhere else outside of your home to receive services or support, maybe like speech therapy at a clinic. You know, you can leave your home, you can leave your living environment to go receive those services. That's what integrated setting means. And we'll go over community living in a little bit. So CMS told the whole country, including Arkansas, that they needed to submit a transition plan by March 17th, 2019. And this transition plan needed to explain the steps that Arkansas would take and that all states would take so they can follow the settings rule. But Arkansas, along with other states, was not ready to turn in their transition plan. So CMS pushed out the deadline to March 17th, 2022. So that's 3 years later. So we're pushing. And part of that push happened because of COVID-19. things slowed down. People had to stay safe, and CMS pushed that deadline forward. So after that plan was turned in that plan, Arkansas said that they would completely follow the settings rule by March 31st, 2014. Arkansas has known about this rule since 2014, so that's 10 years ago. And it's the government's job in Arkansas to make sure that providers are following the rule. And if Arkansas does not make providers follow the rule, then they can get in trouble basically from CMS. They can impose consequences. And that can mean different things. That can mean that CMS could take money away from providers. That could mean that providers are asked to submit a corrective action plan, and some already have. So there are negative consequences if providers do not follow the rule. And kind of the chain of command looks like CMS tells all states and the governments that they need to tell providers to follow the settings rule, and it's the state's job to enforce that. So now that we've gotten rid of the background and we're up to date on that, let's talk about the settings rule. So it makes sure that your home feels like your home if you have a disability, because there is no place like home. You only have one. The settings rule makes sure that you can make your own choices. And this can be small choices like how to spend your time, what activities or hobbies that you want to do that make you happy. Maybe you want to learn to cook, or you want to learn to crochet. You can also make big choices, like if you want to take college classes or get a job. You can also decide who you want to spend time with. You know what kind of life you want, and you are the expert on you. And the settings rule makes sure that you are able to make those choices to make your home feel like what you want it to be.
A, a part of being in your own home is living in the community. Everybody wants to be a part of their community, wants to get out of the house, wants to do things that the average person does. Um, Whether that's going shopping, and that does not include going to the store on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. because, as we all know, our lives don't work that way. We have random things that we want to do, and it doesn't go by a time. Maybe you want to attend an event, or go to church, or go to a festival. Maybe you want to have a job so that you can make money. You have these choices to be in your community, and the settings rule is to ensure that that is a part of your home. Is not just living in your home, but also being a part and a member of your community. So, like in your community, what choices do you have to go to different stores, restaurants, places of worship? What opportunities can come from that? You can meet new people. You can maybe make friends. You get to interact with people in your neighborhood, or ordering food at a restaurant. Do you get to do as much as you want in your community? Your service provider, how does your provider help you interact into your community? Do they have give you opportunities and let you have access to those things so that you can grow your community? Because it's not just you, it's not just your family, but you want to create friendships and create community, and that's the way you can do that. And one of the things that we that has come up that is a part of being in the community is the money follows the person program. It's a federal grant Medicaid program that is home and community based settings, makes those more accessible. And part of the requirements is that you be in a qualified institution at least one day. and that you're Medicaid eligible. Who is this? Who is this program for? Typically, seniors and aging adults, people with physical disabilities, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and people with mental illness. Also, it's a decrease. It's also decreasing the need for Medicaid funded nursing home care because we want to get people in the community, and the money follows the person will do that. It will, the money that is used, that you would use to otherwise stay in an institution, will be able to follow you out of that institution and into your community. So, what is the goal of Money Follows the Person? Is to return people from institutional settings to their community with the proper supports. They don't want to just throw you out there with nothing. They want to give you a an infrastructure where you can be in your community with the proper supports. People are assigned a case manager that will create a plan, will locate housing, they will assist with the whole entire transitional process, whether that's setting up your utilities, they will help you with furniture, clothing, whatever it is that you need in order to be successful and stay in the community, and have the right supports and live as independently as possible in your new environment, because we know when you go into a new environment it is scary, and that program is to ensure that it's less as least stressful as possible.
Another way that you can have more access to your community is finding a job. If that's something that you want to do, if that's a goal that you have. And if you would like to find a job, definitely talk to your provider about what your options could look like. And you can also give us a call if you'd like more help finding a job or being connected to other resources like Arkansas Rehabilitation Services. And there is also a webinar about employment that our team here presented on. And this is helpful for both providers and consumers, or if you have a disability. Um, and if you're not sure about how having a job would affect your benefits, just give us a call and we can provide some more clarity. Your provider can also do this. So if you have a disability and your provider helps you with daily activities, gives you rides to places, gives you transportation, I'm going to go over some of the rights that the settings rule guarantees that you have. Now remember that your provider has to keep you safe, and we must always be respectful of our provider and the people who help us. And these rights can come with the caveat if you have a guardian. I would recommend looking at the webinar or watching the webinar from earlier on in the presentation. But we're going to talk about your rights if you receive services from a provider. So in a nutshell, you have the rights that everyone else has. That's me, that's Sherice, that's Jamie. We all have certain rights. You have the right to make your own choices, like where to go during the day or how to spend your time. You have the right to control your own schedule and to decide what activities you want to do. You also have a right to be listened to. Your support staff, your guardian, if you have one, your provider, your roommates, if you have one, they should all listen to you. And some of these are going to sound self-explanatory, but I wanted to be very specific in the same way that the settings rule is very specific about these rights. You also have the right to vote. You have the right to vote for the president, to vote for your mayor, to vote for your senator. You have the right to vote. I will say if you have a guardian, you may not be able to vote unless you have that added into your guardianship agreement. But give us a call if you don't want a guardian or if you want to vote, but you're not able to, or you want to learn more about how you can vote if you do have a guardian. You also have a right for people to come visit you. So that can be friends, your family, anyone. Now remember though that your provider does need to keep you safe and they may need to know who is in your home. We need to be respectful of our provider and our roommate if we have one. For example, if someone wants to visit you after dinner or at night, make sure that your roommate isn't trying to sleep because then that would disturb them. But you have a right to have people come visit you. And you should also be able to spend time doing things that are important to you and that make you happy. If you want to learn a new skill, like you want to learn how to cook, you can learn how to do that. If you want to take dance lessons, you can do that. You have a right to do the things that make you happy. And those can be things that you haven't done before or that you've wanted to do, but you're not sure how to go about it. If there are things that you want to be doing, definitely tell your support staff and tell your care coordinator so they can add that into your plan. You also have the right to have a job, and not just jobs that people in your life think that you should have. Maybe your support staff or your provider or your guardian think that you should have a certain kind of job. But you can have any job that you want and any job that anyone else has. You can make money, and when you work at a job, you can have an income. Of course, if you're not sure how that can affect your benefits, give us a call or talk to your provider about that.
you you're right. You know, like we said, if you choose something, you have to choose the consequences. You have a right to eat what you want. If it's in your budget and it's not going to be harmful to you, and you want something different to eat that's not there, then you have the right to choose that. You have the right to choose to spend your money however it is you want. Yes, you have to pay your bills, but if you want to treat yourself to a new outfit, you have the ability to do that. You have control over your things. Nobody can touch your things that you don't want to touch your things. You have a right to not be restrained or in seclusion. That means nobody has the right to give you any medication to make you uh, be the way they want you to be. You have a right not to be held down. It's not fun and it's not safe. You have a right to say, I don't want to be locked in my room. I want to go out and sit outside and sit on my porch. They can't make you just stay in your room. Those are your rights in terms of seclusion and restraints. And if you feel that your rights are being violated, you must let someone know.
You also have the right to freedom, dignity, privacy, and respect. The HCBS settings rule is very specific about this, and these four things are a large contributor to your home feeling like a home that you're comfortable in. So it ensures an individual's rights to privacy, dignity, respect, and freedom from coercion and restraint. That is how the settings rule specifically phrases that. So, so what that really means is what dignity, privacy, and respect means is you have the right to make choices, to take risks, and to try. And that can also mean sometimes that you experience consequences. So we've talked about your rights and your freedoms, the different kinds of choices that you can make. And when you make your own choices, there can also be consequences, and things can happen that you don't like. And that's just a natural part of making your own decisions. You have a right to try, and that can be making the wrong decisions sometimes. But that's how you learn and you grow. Your support staff, your family, or your friends can help you make better decisions in the future. You can lean on them for support. And more on the respect piece. If the important people who are in your life also respect you, then they should respect your right to make decisions and to an extent experience those consequences. They have to keep you safe, remember that. But they will support you no matter what if things happen that you don't like, if you make a bad decision, like if there's a consequence. Um, as an example, people can visit you in your home but you have to make smart decisions and be responsible when you invite people into your home. And you can ask people in your life for advice regarding any kind of decision that you make. And we'll talk more about supported decision making later on for how you can use your support system to make choices for yourself. At the end of the day, what dignity and respect means is that the people who support you also respect your right to try and your right to make decisions. So let's talk about dignity. So what that means is you are important and you matter. We all have dignity. We are all born with dignity. And what that means is we want to be treated fairly. We all want to be heard and be listened to and to feel safe in the world and safe in our home. That's what dignity means. And the settings rule mentions this specifically. You also have a right to privacy. You have a right to be alone. You do not have to feel constantly watched by your support staff or people who you trust. Privacy means that you can have a lock on your door if that is safe for you. Privacy means that you have a key to your house or you know the keypad code. Privacy means that your support staff knock on your door and wait until you say you can be let in. Privacy is the right that you have. And of course, you have a right to respect. What that means is, in a nutshell, that you are treated as an adult, that your thoughts and opinions matter, that you feel respected by the people that help you, by your support staff, by your provider. If you have respect, it means that people respect your choices, like we said before, and your right to try. If you feel respected, people should listen to you and take into consideration what you say. So dignity, privacy, and respect are important to the settings rule. I do want to talk about consequences because with great power comes great responsibility, and things can happen that we don't always like. So for example, you just got your money for the month, maybe you got $1,000 and you want to go shopping. You go with your support staff to the store and you want to buy some video games. And you spend $200. You splurge. So how much is left in your account? $800, maybe you have a little more if you had money saved from the previous month. Unfortunately, you also have to pay your rent. So your rent is $700. So how much do you have left after all that comes out? You only have $100. That's not very much money. $100 is not going to pay for a month of groceries. It's not going to even pay your electric bill, especially in the summertime. Your AC bill can go really high, and you have to pay to keep the cold air in your house. So if you're not able to pay that electric bill, that $150, the electric company can charge you late fees, and this is additional money, extra money stacked on top of your normal bill. Then the next month when it's time to pay, you are in the negative and you owe money to the company. And it's all because you wanted to buy video games when you were paid. So you have a right to spend money how you want to, but you also have to make smart choices so you can avoid negative consequences like overspending and being charged late fees because you can't pay your utilities. So that's kind of the caveat to that. So we have a copy of You Have the Right booklet, and this goes over your rights in more detail. And there are other rights that I didn't mention today. And if you'd like a copy for your consumers, I can mail you however many you need. Just email me and let me know. So I'm going to pause and look at the Q&A and answer some questions. I think I did see one. I'd like to talk about supervision. So with choices and how you spend your time, where you want to go during the day, that's right that you have, but you also need to be safe. And that often means someone going with you, like a guardian or like your support staff. So someone should be going with you to those different environments. This is also kind of a person-centered service plan question. So if it's in their plan that they must have supervision, then the consumer should understand that that's a requirement for their own safety. Um, and there are other situations too where people have more independence, and in those settings, then they would be able to go without someone being with them, but someone needs to know where they are and what time they're expected to be back so they can be safe. Okay. So now we're going to go to a poll. So I'd like you to answer a couple questions. If you work for a provider or for a pass, you'll check yes or no. And if you are with the pass, what company or pass are you with? And then if you are a parent or a legal guardian, go ahead and check yes or no. I'll let y'all have a couple minutes. Okay. This poll is going to stay open for the remainder of the webinar. So if you weren't able to complete it, you can go back and turn that into us. All right. So that kind of concludes the part of the webinar where I talk about people's rights if you have a disability, and what that can look like, the different caveats to that. So I hope that was helpful for you guys.
Let's talk about supportive decision making. Everybody has the right to make choices, and everybody needs a little help sometime. Whether you have a disability or not, everybody needs support with making decisions. How many times have you called your friend and said, I found this new car that I wanted and I just don't know if I should buy it. Help me talk through it so that I can make the right decision. And that doesn't require you to have a disability. Everybody, we all have a lot of choices. And so we need to have someone to talk through it with us so that we can make the right decisions that will be the best for us. And so when you uh, don't know enough about something to make a good decision, you ask for help. If you need help fixing your car, you call a mechanic. You don't call a baker to help you fix your car. So you get the right people in order to make the best decisions. You have a right not to have a guardian and to make your own decisions, but maybe you just need a little help, and that does not require a guardian. So how does supported decision uh, making work? Think about a type of decision you need help making and the type of help you need. So, for instance, maybe you need help with your budget, your finances, and you need help with balancing your checkbook. And that is the support you need. So then you would talk to the right person who can help you, and you tell them what type of support you need. So maybe you go to your sister and say, I can't do the math to figure out my checkbook. Can you help me with that and provide that support? They can help you understand the decision that you're making. So they can help you and sit down with you and do that checkbook. Then you create a written plan listing all of the people you want to support you, when you want them to provide that support, and how. So just because your sister helps you balance your checkbook doesn't mean she can then tell you how to spend that money, because that's not what you asked her to do. That is not the support that you requested from her. So create a plan, a written plan, list all of the people you want to support you, whether it's a parent, a best friend, a provider, whomever it is, a sibling, and then when you want them to support you, whether it's medical, budgeting, maybe it's with buying choices, maybe it's understanding doing your medications, and then how you want them to support you. Maybe you need support on your medications, but all you need are reminders, and that would be the how of how you want that person to support you.
So, if you have a disability and if someone supports you, if you have support staff, if you have a provider, I'm going to talk now about what expectations that you can have of the people that help you. So there is a theme, and I will repeat this several times. In a nutshell, they should listen to you. You are in control if you have a disability. And sometimes it can take a long time where it takes effort to communicate what you want and what you need. If that's the case for you, people should still be patient and listen to you because you can still make choices. You may not be able to communicate using words. Maybe you use an iPad or a letterboard, or you use your actions and your behavior to communicate. Regardless of the method, the people who support you should listen to you, and you are in control of the kind of services and the kind of help that you receive. So here's what you should expect from your service provider. They should listen to you. You are in control. Your provider should also be in your person-centered service plan, also called a PCSP. And I'll talk more about that in more detail later on. And in your plan, there are some goals for things that you want to do, things you want to accomplish. And your provider should work with you and help you meet those goals. To have a goal means that there's a skill that you want to learn or an activity that you want to do. Maybe you want to learn how to use your iPad better and be independent in that, or you want to learn to shave. So what kind of skill do you want to learn on your own? Your provider should be helping you with those kinds of goals. And your provider should also be communicating with you. They should give you a call, especially if your support staff that normally comes to help you cannot come into work. Someone should let you know, someone from your provider. They should be in touch with you. If you are in a PASS and you have a care coordinator, your care coordinator should listen to you. You are in control of the kind of services that you receive. Your care coordinator should generally be available if you need them. If you call your care coordinator, they should pick up the phone. And then ask your care coordinator who else you can call if it's after 5 p.m. and your care coordinator is not available. Get that phone number for the backup option and keep it somewhere safe. Keep it on your fridge, in your bathroom. What is that other phone number that you can call if your care coordinator is not available? Your care coordinator also makes sure that you are getting the services or the help, in other words, that you need to live independently. They literally coordinate the care that you need to live on your own to a certain extent. And this person should also be attending your person-centered service plan meetings. And they should also be helping you meet your goals. At minimum, they should at least be in contact with you once per month. And they should be meeting with you in person once per quarter. So once per quarter means every 3 months. So for example, we're about to enter March. So between March, April, May, and those 3 months, they should have an in-person meeting with you in that time period. So those are expectations that you should have of your care coordinators. So if you have support staff, these are people that help you in your home. They should listen to you. You are in control of the kind of services that you receive. they work for you. They're there to make sure that you have the kind of life that you want and to support you in that goal. Um, and remember too that if you have a disability, you know the things that help you. You know you the best. So in that sense, your support staff should help you in ways that you want to be helped. So you can explain how you want to be helped and provide more detail to be more specific. You can also expect your support staff to come to work on time and stay for their entire shift. Um, if you receive services in your home, they should come to your home on time. If you receive services at a day program, they should arrive on time. So that's an expectation. Your support staff should also help you with everyday activities. And these activities can be different depending on what your needs are, but they may help you get dressed. They may help you use the restroom. They may give you transportation and drive you places. Your support staff may help you cook meals, may help you take your medicine. They're there to help you with your normal, just your everyday life. Um, and your support staff should also be helping you meet your goals. That's also a theme here. And so really, what things are you doing or what things do you want to do that you are not currently doing? You can tell your support staff that. Um, if you want to learn a new hobby, if you want to get a job, your support staff can connect you to the services that you need to meet those goals. And also remember that your support staff are there to listen to you and to help you. They're there for you. So if you're feeling bad or stuck in your situation, um, just talk to them and see what they can do to help you. Remember too that with your support staff, with your care coordinators, with your provider, that we are also humans. We all make mistakes. And just remember to be respectful and to show grace and to have patience. But they're there to help you. So just I want to add that in.
Let's talk about boundaries. A boundary is something where there's a limit you're not willing to go past. You can control what kind of relationship you have with your support staff. If you're feeling like one day, because nobody feels the same every day, so maybe you don't want to be hugged or touched, and you say, let's just have a high five, or let's not touch at all. You have the right to do that. And you have a right to speak up if something that they're doing is making you feel uncomfortable. And be very specific about the type of physical contact you want and that you don't want. If you feel like your support person is crossing that line, then you need to talk to your provider or talk to someone that's above them. You have a right to say, I want this kind of boundary. I want these kinds of touch or things. I'm not a child. I don't need to be coddled and hugged and my head patted or anything like that. And you have a right to say that, and you can say that in a nice and respectful way. Let's say you know whatever is going on and that support person just isn't your jam. Let's just say they're just not working for you. Your provider needs to listen to you when you say, I don't think this is the right support person for me. Maybe your support person doesn't like to do the activities that you like to do, uh, or maybe they've given you everything that they have to give. Sometimes a support staff can be with you for so long that they can't help you achieve any more goals. And so, or maybe you say, I want to try a male support staff for a little while, or vice versa. And there's good ways you can say that. You can say something like, I don't think this person is a good match for me. Maybe your personalities don't match. Maybe you're a little sarcastic and they're a little bit more serious. And that's fine. What if you say, we're just two different people. We don't gel, we don't match. They're not doing anything to me. I just don't feel like they're a good match and they can help me accomplish my goals, and I don't think they can help me be involved in the community the way I want to be involved in the community. So, you know, part of standing up and saying, these are the things I want, these are the things I don't want, that's how you advocate for yourself to be in your community, to have the staff that you want to get along with, that you can get along with, and to live the life that you want. You have to advocate for yourself. So let's talk about what is advocacy. What is advocacy? Advocacy is simply speaking up for yourself and acting on behalf of yourself and others. In order to be in order to be an advocate, you have to be willing to speak up for yourself and say, "This is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is what the things I think I should have. These are the things I don't think I should have." I'm not only an advocate, but I'm also a self advocate. So there are different types of advocacy. There's self advocacy, which means you're speaking up for yourself as a person. So when I have a physical disability. If something isn't accessible, I'll go in and talk and say, this isn't accessible for me and I can't get in. But sometimes I often, as part of my job, advocate for others, which is called individual advocacy. That means I advocate for other people who maybe don't want to speak up or can't speak up when they think something is unfair. Just because you have a disability doesn't make you an advocate. Not everybody wants to be an advocate for whatever reason. Maybe their personalities are not built for advocacy. Maybe they just say, I don't want to do that and I need the support, or I don't know what to say. And as an advocate, you can definitely build those skills. It takes some time, but you can build those advocacy skills with a lot of practice and supports. And then there's systems advocacy. If there is a rule, if there's a law, if there's a policy in place that impacts you and the lives of others with disabilities, you have a right to say, you know what, that's not fair, that's not right, and I think it should change. For instance, let's say the bus stops running at 8 o'clock, and you say, but I want to stay out till 10. That's a policy that's not fair for you and a lot of people who may want to stay out. So you want to work to get that changed. So, what advocacy supports are available through Disability Rights Arkansas? We have the Reaching My Own Greatness training, which is a intensive 10 module uh, self determination interactive curriculum where we teach people how to be better self advocates if that's what they want to do, and not only be a good self advocate, but also help them to learn how to advocate for others. Uh, I also have a training on how to be an effective advocate, because you can advocate, but if you're not effective, you won't get anything done. So I try to show people how to get the most out of advocacy through effective advocating, and also other personalized trainings for support staff and people with disabilities. If I don't, I'm new to this job. I just started in December. So I am creating trainings all of the time. So if you say, well, I think the person I support could benefit from budgeting classes, then I can create a training for that. Or you say, I really like being a support person, but I want to be a better support person. I want to be a better ally. Then there are trainings and things that I can facilitate to help you do that. Um, because what better person to teach you how to be a better support person than a person who needs supports? And then we have our partners in policy making, which is PIP for short. We're currently about to go into our third month. We started in January, and it is a it is a curriculum that lasts. This year is only 6 months. Next year it will be 8 months, and we're in our second cohort. And the purpose of the Partners in Policy Making is they bring in speakers from all over the country, and they teach them about inclusive education, community living, supportive decision making, education, independent living movement, parent movement, and they people in the class create projects, and the project is something maybe they want to change in their community. So, for instance, we have someone who is an artist and who wants to create change through art. So she has written a book and she wants to talk about inclusion through art. We have another person who wants to help people navigate how to get assistive technology for people with disabilities, how to pay for it, how to find it. And so that is part of our project, is making that system more accessible. So they create plans and they learn to talk to legislators and different folks about how to create better policies for people with disabilities. We will be, there is a wait list for next year already up. We also will be releasing applications sometime this summer, early fall, for people who may want to be in the next cohort, which will start possibly in January.
All of the options that Sherice has spoken about today, it these are concrete ways that you can advocate for yourself and to give yourself the kind of life that you want. We want to give you those options, those step by steps to um, so you can have what you want out of your life. And I hope that y'all take advantage. So the first part of the webinar, we wanted to talk to people with disabilities to inform them of their rights, to inform them of the settings rule, to make them aware of these things so they can be better self advocates. I'd like to talk to people on the call who are providers, who are support staff, who are in the passes. I'd like to give y'all also some specific advice on how you can better serve the people who you care for. And I also hope too that it's been helpful to hear the earlier parts of the webinar where I talked about your rights, what that can look like. So I hope that it's been helpful so far. But if you're a provider and support staff, this part's for you. So the most important piece here is to learn about the HCBS settings rule. What I've covered is an overview, truly. Um, I, I, I've given you all a summary of the high points. If you want to learn more, and I hope that you do, we are going to email a list of resources, links to websites, documents that list out the specific steps that you can take to better help the people that you serve. When you train your support staff, when you upload those trainings to their email, I hope that some of those links and websites are helpful to you. Support staff, I encourage you to just talk to the individuals that you serve. Make sure they understand what integration means. Make sure they understand what it means to have access to the community, to life outside their house. Ask them how they want to spend their time. Can your consumers tell you what their rights are? Can they explain what it means to be independent? Can they explain what kinds of choices they make? See if they can give examples of what being independent means. See if they can give examples of what making choices means and what kinds of choices they make. There's a resource called Supporting the Right to a Community Life that can help guide that conversation. And that's also linked. And it's an important conversation to have because there's one piece of the settings rule where it's concrete where you know your rights, where you know what you're allowed to do and what not to do. But the other piece of it too is understanding the settings rule, understand what it means to have dignity and to have privacy and to have respect. Um, and just ask your consumer what it is that they really want from their life. Listen to what they have to say. Observe their behavior and observe how they respond when they answer questions. So I call that just ask, listen, and observe. Really get to know your consumer and get a sense of what they want. So if you are support staff, how can you provide higher quality care? Just remember that all behavior is communication. How do they communicate? Do they use words? Do they use technology? Do they use a tablet? Do they rely on their behavior? And do they use their body language? There's a resource called Exploring Possibilities and Supports that can help you understand the different ways that someone might communicate. And it's important to know how your consumer communicates so they can tell you what they want. And that way they can also tell you if something is wrong. I'd also encourage you to just get to know them if you don't already. Think about what their perfect day looks like. Where are they? What are they doing? What kind of environment are they in? What activity are they doing? You can help give them that perfect day and help give them that great experience. And also think, what has the consumer experienced in their life that contributes maybe to their personality, that helps define who they are as a person? What are those pivotal experiences that may explain why they act in certain ways or why they say certain things? And also to think about your consumer and think, what does their best possible future look like? If they had a magic wand and they wanted certain things, they wanted to be able to do certain things, what would those look like? And how can you, as their support staff, facilitate that? Could you help talk to their care coordinator? Could you talk to the provider and see how you can give the person who you serve their best possible future? What supports do they need to be able to get there? Ask them what kind of places they want to go. The person who you serve, where do you want to go? What activities do you want to do? Do you want to go out to eat to a new restaurant? Do you want to join a club? Do you want to go to the library? Are there any events happening in town that you saw on Facebook that you want to go to? What do you want to do? And ask the consumer if they get to do as much as they want to in the community. Just ask them, do you feel like you're getting out of the house enough? If it's yes, great. If it's no, then maybe brainstorm some options or some different things that they would enjoy based on what you know about them. You can offer suggestions too. What do they want to do that they are not currently doing? You can also ask them if they like their roommate, if they like their housemate. Are they getting along? Is it a happy home environment? Or maybe the consumer prefers to live alone. Maybe that's just the best option for their personality. And ask the person who you serve, what kinds of decisions do you make? If it's a short list, then it's possible that the person with disability has not had the practice to make certain choices. And as the support staff, you can provide those options. Like, you can give them some options as far as like, do you want to do this today or this today? Or next weekend, here are some things that are going on. What do you want to go do? To give them the chance to exercise that skill of making those choices. And when you talk to the person who you serve, just make sure that you listen and you understand what they're telling you. And all behavior is communication. Everyone communicates differently. So as long as you kind of have that rhythm and you understand, then y'all are going to be in good shape. So let's talk about person-centered service plans. So this is for both consumers and for providers who are on the call. And sometimes people with disabilities are not as familiar with their plan as they could be or they should be. So I hope that after this, you'll understand how important your plan is and how it affects your life. So if you have a disability, remember that you are the decision maker when it comes to your plan. You're driving the ship. The whole purpose, the entire point of the plan is to help you build the life that you want with the supports that you need. So what services do you need to have the life that you've always wanted? You should write them down in your plan. So be specific. Remember that your plan should work for you. And there are also some rules that your plan must follow. The most important one, obviously, being that your support team should listen to you, that your provider, your care coordinator should listen to what you want to have in your plan. Because the plan's about you and about what you want for your life. And in your plan, if you have disability, be specific about the kind of support that you want, because you know you the best. You are the expert on you. So tell them what kind of support you want, what kind of help you want. Also in your plan, make sure it specifies what activities you want to do and how you want to spend your time. Maybe an activity that you want to do more of is doing a video call or FaceTime with your parents or with your friends to stay in better touch. Something as simple as that can be in your service plan. So you are the decision maker here, and your plan needs to have certain requirements. It must show that you live in the community, that where you receive services is an integrated setting. It needs to show that you choose the places that you want to go, like different restaurants, different areas that you like to go shopping, or if you go somewhere to worship. Your plan must show step by step how the services you get will help you meet your goals. So that way you can learn and grow as a person. For example, maybe one of your goals is that you want to learn to use your iPad on your own to play videos and play games. So the steps in your plan could look like turn on the iPad, touch the game or video icon, and press play. So you can break down those steps in your plan to reach the goal that you have set in your plan. Another one of the requirements of your plan is that it should be easy to understand. And if it's not easy for you to understand, you can ask for your plan in other language that is easier to understand, because the plan is about you and it's about your life. So if you have a disability, you should be able to understand what's in your plan. In your plan, it should list the different supports that you want. So maybe you really want and you need to feel safe. What are the different supports or what are the different things that your support staff can do to make sure that you feel safe? Maybe you need help taking your medication. You're not able to take that by yourself. In your plan, it could specify that you take your medication in the morning and at night, and it has to be with the meal. Maybe you need help with cooking and cleaning. You're not able to do those things on your own. That should also be in your plan. If you have any health concerns or any specific things about you that are health related, for example, like if your food needs to be pureed, or if you have diabetes and you need to take insulin to keep your blood sugars at a safe level, that should also be in your plan. If you have a goal to lose weight, if you have a goal to exercise, to go on walks in your neighborhood, that can also be in your plan. And your plan can also, it really should say simple things like this to kind of describe who you are as a person. What kinds of things do you like? Do you like certain TV shows? Is there certain music that you enjoy listening to? That can kind of help that can help you make decisions about how you want to spend your time. Like if you want to go see a concert and they're coming to Little Rock or they're coming to Arkansas, add that to the calendar. If it's in your plan that you like the certain musician or the certain band, and if you tell your support staff that you like these things, then that can help you decide how to spend your time and how to have fun. And you can also list things that you don't like, like I don't like crowds, or I don't like mosquito bites. You can put simple things in your plan too, because your plan's about you and it helps people know you as a person. You can also list the important people who are in your life. Um, you can list your parents. You can list close friends. If there are support staff who you've worked with for a long time, they can be listed here in your plan also. Um, and your plan can also include what you like to do during the day. Maybe you want to volunteer or you are volunteering somewhere. Maybe you want to go shopping more often at Target, or you want to go to TJ Maxx. Um, what activities do you like doing during the day? Um, are your favorite activities talking to your family? Are your favorite activities going out to eat? Or are they going for a walk or going to the park? So your plan can include these kinds of things because it describes who you are. Maybe you have certain values, like you want to practice a religion, things that are important to you, like freedom of movement, the ability to leave your house, the ability to move around your house freely. That's important to you. One of your values could be that you really want control over your space or control over your belongings or your things. You don't like people messing with your stuff. That's a value that you have, and that can be in your plan. And your plan should definitely include ways that you have access to the community. Again, where do you like to go out to eat? Where do you like to shop? What activities do you like to do that are outside of the house? That's your life in the community. And your plan should be specific about those things. So remember, just with your plan is about you. It's about your goals. It's about what you want to do in the future. It's about who you are as a person. Maybe it talks about your personality, things you enjoy. Your plan is meant to work for you. So you are the decision maker when it comes to your plan, and you have meetings every year and sometimes more often. And at these meetings to go over your plan, you should obviously be there. In addition, your provider and your support staff should be at that meeting. Your care coordinator should be at that meeting. And then also, any important people who are in your life can come. That can mean your parents. That can also mean close friends who know you really well. That can mean a therapist or a speech therapist. Just people who know you well and who know what your goals are, what your hopes and dreams are. You can invite those people to your plan meeting to go over that. So at minimum, the meetings need to happen once a year, but you can also have a meeting whenever you need to have one. Like if you want to make a change to what services you get or the kind of help you receive, maybe you have a new goal. Like if you want to learn to ride a bike, or if you want to learn to dance or take a dance class, you can add things that are as simple as that into your plan. Because that way it keeps people in the loop. Your care coordinator knows, your support staff knows, your guardians know if you have one. If you keep your plan updated and you keep it focused on you, you're going to be in good shape. So I'd like to talk about now, if you have a disability, what your life could look like. Um, I know that perhaps when I was talking about the rights that you have if you receive services from a provider, um, it's possible that you're thinking, well, that's not me, or that's not something that I'm able to do. Um, I'll talk now about what your day could be looking like right now. And of course, not everyone is going to have this exact experience, but it could. These things could be happening, or they could have happened to you. It's possible that you are told what to do and when to do it. Everything that you do, every activity, every meal, you do as a group or with your roommates. Maybe you're not being empowered or supported to make your own decisions about anything, big choices or small choices. Maybe you cannot decide how to spend your time, like where to go during the day, or even what to eat. Um, It's possible that right now your support staff is not helping you. Maybe they're not present, they're not engaged. They don't want to spend time with you. Maybe all they want to do is watch TV or play on their phone, but that is not what you want to do. And maybe your support staff just don't know the best ways to help you. Maybe they don't come to work or they come to work late. Maybe you don't know how to reach them. You don't have their phone number and it's hard to like stay in touch with them. Before I continue, I know that these are worst case scenarios and not everyone with a disability has experienced these things, but I also know that these things have happened and maybe they are happening now. If you receive services, maybe you never leave the house. This is not community living, and this is not what the HCBS settings rule is all about. The settings rule protects your right to access to the community, to be able to leave the house. Maybe you only spend time with other people with disabilities. That's also not an integrated setting. Maybe you don't have a phone or a way of reaching people if there are not staff at your house with you. You should be able to call other people, or people should be able to reach you if support staff are not with you. Maybe you're not seeing your doctor when you're supposed to. Maybe you're not getting your medications on time. Maybe people talk to you like you're a child, but remember that you're an adult and you should be treated with respect. Maybe people say mean things to you or call you names if you have a disability. It's possible that you don't like where you live. It's possible you don't like your roommate. Maybe you want to live by yourself. Maybe you don't have privacy. Maybe your support staff come into your room without asking. You cannot talk on the phone in private. People can ask embarrassing questions about your life. That is not privacy. Maybe you're fighting a lot with your roommate. You're not getting along. You get into arguments. Just depends on your situation. And in certain situations, maybe you feel unsafe where you live. Hopefully that's not the case, but this can happen. So remember that if you're not getting the help that you need, you can always, always, always call your care coordinator with your pass. Let your support staff know if there are things that are happening to you that you do not like. Talk to your support staff and be specific about what you want. If something's happening that you don't like, but you know what could fix that, tell your support staff. You can also call your provider, call the main office. And then, of course, you can always give us a call. Our phone number's there. You can Google us online and find our phone number, but you can always call us for extra support. So if those things that I talked about described you and you're just not sure how to fix your current situation, give us a call and talk to your care coordinator. So the settings rule really makes sure that your home feels like a home, that there's no place like home, and that it makes sure that you have access to the community. And it's about you and the services that you receive if you have a disability. So you are in charge of your care. This should have always been the case, and I'm sure it is for most of you. But just remember too that Arkansas agreed to follow the HCBS settings rule by March 31st, 2024. So that's in 32 days. That's when they agreed to be compliant with the settings rule and that these things are going to be in place if they aren't already. So this means that you are in charge of your care. This means that you have a chance to be involved in the community. You can make friends with people without a disability. You can be in settings and in places and in environments where you can meet new people. You can spend time doing what you like to do. You can leave the house when you want. You can spend time doing what you want to do on your own time. If you want to learn a hobby, learn a skill, join a club, you can do all those things. And your provider and your support staff should help you meet that goal and to give you the support that you need to do these things. You should also be comfortable in your home. So your home should also be accessible. So maybe you use a wheelchair and you need things to be at certain heights. You need to be able to reach everything in your home. It should be accessible. You should also be able to leave the house when you want to. Of course, if it's in your plan where you need supervision, then someone should be able to go with you. But you control your schedule and you can decide where you want to go and when. You also have a right to get along with your support staff. Like Sharice talked about earlier, if you feel like you're not meshing with your support staff, you can ask for new staff because they work for you. You should be able to have visitors in your home. Make smart decisions. And you should feel respected and feel important. The settings rule is specific about this. You should also spend money how you want to, and have control over your stuff, over your belongings. If you have a payee through Social Security, you can still spend money how you want to, but they're there to make sure that you can pay your bills and that nothing's going to be late, that you keep a roof over your head. They can help you make smart decisions about how to spend your money if you have a payee, if that describes you. You should be able to eat the food that you want to. You should be able to stock the house with your favorite snacks, with your favorite food. Of course, you need to make smart decisions. You don't want to eat fast food every day because that would make you feel not so good. You don't want to eat chocolate for dinner. But to an extent, you can eat the food that you want to. You should also have privacy. If you want time alone in your room, you can have that. If you don't want to be around people, you can have that. So I've gone over your rights. I've gone over expectations of support staff, care coordinators. I've given some advice and some tips on how to be in compliance with the settings rule. But it's the tip of the iceberg. What's going to be coming to you in your email is a lot more detailed, and it gives you step-by-step instructions if you feel like you need more guidance for how to incorporate these things as you provide care. So if you have a disability, you can learn about other ways you can advocate for yourself. There's a link to the website and a link to what Sharice was talking about earlier about the different programs that you can sign up for. And if you're a provider or support staff, there are also websites where you can learn about how you can provide higher quality care and how to incorporate more of the settings rule into your services. So I have some sources here and there. And now what I'll do is I'll take questions. Let me review. Okay. I think I saw one in the chat. Okay. Right. So if someone is a ward of the state, that this is a specific scenario, if you could email me, or if you could give me a call, we can talk about that in more detail. Because the responsibility that providers have to be in compliance with the settings rule may intersect with APS. So reach out to me directly if you'd like more information on that. Okay, I saw a message from Mandy Shroptaw. Okay, I'll get in touch with you, Mandy. Sounds great. Okay. All right. Is there anything else that I'd like to, or anything else that Sharice would like to add, or any other questions that pop up in the Q&A I didn't address? I can do that now. Okay. There's my email. There is Sharice's email. There is our address and our phone number and our website. Contact me if you'd like copies of the You Have the Right brochure, and I can mail those to you. And just let us know if y'all have any other questions about the settings rule or how we can support you in that. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lindsey and Sherice, for joining us today. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the presentation. Please stay tuned for our next webinar, hopefully coming up here in the next couple of months. It'll be about education and IEP plans. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to anybody here at DRA, and there will be a quick survey after the end of this webinar. All right. Thank you guys so much, and you all have a wonderful day.